Hello again. I hope this finds you and yours well. This is a video showing solutions to quiz 1, and serious students may want to take notes or use the pause and rewind functions of the video for maximum learning. This is a distribution of the scores on this quiz 1, and this is just on quiz 1 alone. It doesn't factor in the other factors, but on this quiz by itself, looks like 6 of you scored in the green range, meaning that you did well enough to not have to take any more developmental math. You can move directly onto college level math, and some of you need to improve the scores as you go on to qualify and take advantage of this significant 0465 opportunity. Now here are problems 1 and 2. I gave you the status of male, female, and child survivors and those that perished during the Titanic tragedy. And so the question was, what was the probability that a passenger survived? Well, you had to add up the survivors, and you got 712 survived, and there were a total of 2,225 passengers. So you divide 712 divided by 2225, and you get 0.32. That was the answer to number 1. Number 2 said, what's the probability the passenger was female? Well, you have to add up the female passengers and add those together. And again, we're talking about a passenger. And so what was the probability the passenger was female? So you add up the females, you get 425, and you divide that by the total number of passengers, which is 2225, and you get 0.191. So those were the answers to problems 1 and 2. Problem 3 asks you to use this information to calculate the daily amount of potassium in grams for this diet. Well, here's where the label says that. Now it does say 210 milligrams are potassium, but you were supposed to calculate the daily amount, and that was 4%. And so what you have to do is you have to take 210 milligrams and divide it by 0.04. That gives you 5,250 milligrams, but I ask you to show that in grams, and so that is 5.25 grams. That was the answer to problem 3. Problem 4 asks you to use the information on the label to determine the percent less fat my lunch contained than the leading potato chip. Well, the leading potato chip has 10 grams. This product had 7 grams. And so the difference between those, the percent less, is 10 minus 7 divided by the initial. And so that is going to be 10 minus 7 is 3 divided by 10 is 0.3. And I ask you about percent, and so that is 30%. That was the answer to problem number 4. Problem number 5 asks you to determine the mean of this data. So what you do is you add all the data points together and you divide by the number of data points. And you can see how many data points there are, so you add them up and divide by the number of data points, and your answer should have been, the mean is 34.36. That was the answer to problem number 5. Problem number 6 asks you to find the range. Well, if you sort the data, you find that the highest value was 74, the lowest value was 4, so the range is 74 minus 4, or 70. Now, one student complained that they didn't remember seeing this. I think it is there, but just to accommodate that student, I gave everyone free credit on this, whether your answer was correct or not. Problems number 7 and 8 gave you two terms of a sequence, A1 and A2. And they said, if it's an arithmetic sequence, what is the set? What are the subsequent? What is A8? I guess. So you see, if it's arithmetic, that means that you're subtracting a common amount. And so you see, when you go from here to here, you're subtracting 25. So for A3, you would subtract 25, again 25, again 25, again 25, again 25. And so the answer to number 7 was negative 125. Now, the problem 8 asks you if it was geometric, what would the 8th term be? And so there you take the ratio. And so if you look at what happens when you go from 50 to 25, well, you divide it by a half. So that means if it's geometric, each term you would divide by a half again. So dividing 25 by half is 12.5, 6.25, 3.125, and 1.5625. And so the answers for 7 was negative 125, and for 8 it was 1.5625. Now, problem 9 and 10, I gave you information about the area of an equilateral triangle. And if the side of the equilateral triangle is S, the area is known by the formula of square root of 3 over 4 S squared. And then I told you that suppose that S is 1 meter. That means each side is 1 meter. And so I ask you to consider this hexagon that was down here. And the hexagon is found by gluing 6 of these equilateral triangles together. And I ask you, what was the perimeter of the hexagon? Well, you have 6 sides, each is 1 in length, and I ask you to have units, so the answer would be 6 meters. I also ask you the area. Well, each one has an area of, if S is 1, the square root of 3 over 4. And so you take 6 times the square root of 3 over 4, and that ends up being 3 square root of 3 over 2 square meters. I did ask you to give me the exact answer, which is this, but I did accept, because many students fail to read that part, I did accept the approximation if you gave me an approximation of 2.598 as being correct. And so that concludes the solutions for the quiz. In closing, there are many more components to this grade, so stay tuned. The path is long, but the reward after you get a C or better in this course is being finished with developmental math at the College of DuPage and being able to take college level math. Take care.